Hello everyone. Today I will be giving you my tactical analysis of the upcoming World Cup semi-final clash between Croatia and England. In this match, I will be going through all the key matchups, the key weaknesses and strengths of each team, and where the match will be won and lost. Well, firstly, with the England team, they will line up in the usual customary formation of three, or five, three in the middle and two attackers up front. That's a formation that Gareth Southgate's England have been using consistently throughout the whole tournament. They haven't deviated from that formation. Maybe they might have made a couple substitutions or changes to the squad lineup, but it's usually been similar and consistent throughout. And with the England team, they have a back three of Walker, Stones, Maguire. They are the most, I think, comfortable ball playing defenders England have, in their team, which is why I think Southgate sort of has players like Stones and Maguire in defense instead of, a Jones or Smalling or Cahill who don't feel comfortable on the ball. So you have a very sort of possession based sort of kind of system of play that Southgate sort of trying to implement the team, with Stones and Maguire. And you have the two attacking fullbacks in Young and Trippier, and Trippier in particular has been a standout in this tournament, with his exceptional crossing ability. You've always seen him go up the hugging touchline, whipping beautiful crosses in for Kane and sort of unrushing runs into the box by Dele Alli. And you have sort of Kane, who's been in superb form, like not the best, as people would think, because he hasn't really scored a goal from open play yet. All his goals have come from either set piece or of penalty situations, and I think there's still to see from Kane, but I think Kane has done a lot for the team. Not just scoring goals, but he's done a lot for the team outside without the ball. His movement and dropping off. Linking play that I think been pivotal for England in the way they play, and you have Sterling in behind Kane, which I think is a good player to have in that position, because I think Sterling, with his pace and speed and trickery and his balance and agility around the box, terrified defenders. And a constant theme we've seen England's play is as Kane drops off into midfield, you see Sterling making those runs in behind, and that sort of confused defenders, and that's sort of made defenders have nightmarish sort of thoughts about Sterling sort of going past them at super speed. And I think that will be a major part in this game, because as you can see right here that the Croatian defenders of Dejan Lovren and Koluka, as Koluka coming in defense in place of Vida, who will be play right back due to the suspension of their consistent right back, Simon Veselko, I think his name is. So he will come in, and I think that this defense is the most quickest defenders. They're not your Varanes, they're not your Eric Bailly's, they're not those kind of defenders who are able to recover if a player goes in behind with speed. But these defenders are not the fastest. They're quite slow, and I think Sterling can be pivotal in sort of exploiting that weakness in the Croatian defense backline. And another thing I'm going to point out with England is a potential weakness for England is Walker playing right back, because Walker, compared to Stones and Maguire, isn't a traditional centre back. He was placed there in a back three. And I think just the major strength of putting Kyle Walker next to Stones Maguire is that he has the amazing recovery speed, because as you guys know, Walker is a pace merchant. He's very quick, very fast, and is able to recover if England start to press high and start to play more of a high defensive line. They have a reassurance that they have a player like Walker who can, if the Croatian end up exploiting that space in behind, he can make that recovery speed, which will be beneficial for England if they do decide to play the high pressing game. And I think the major weakness of putting Walker in that right centre half position is it can be easily exploited by Mario Mandzukic, who is a very large, aerially dominant forward who can sort of move into that right hand space of the centre backs and sort of exploit the aerial weakness of Walker. And I think Southgate would have thought about that, and he will sort of make changes in order to maybe tell Stones or Maguire to sort of switch positions so that if they do decide pump long balls to Mandzukic in targeting that space, he could Stones and Walking switch positions sort of to confuse the Mandzukic. But I think that if that doesn't happen, they can be in real trouble because if Mandzukic goes into that space next to Walker, using his height and his aerial ability, he can sort of play knockdowns into onrushing Kramrich making runs into the box, like Perisic making runs inside to the box, and that could be sort of a major key part of the game that England might have to fix up on. Well, another thing about Croatia, another weakness they have is they may have the two best midfielders, I think, in the World Cup currently, and maybe in this whole tournament in Ivan Rakitic and Luka Modric. And Luka Modric in particular has been given a lot of praise and a lot of admiration for his game and his performances in the World Cup and over just the past year. He's won the Champions League, with Real Madrid. He's been success in the midfield role for Croatia. And if Croatia do end up winning the World Cup, they can potentially have Modric as a Ballon d'Or winner, ending the Ronaldo-Messi cycle. So with the Rakitic and Modric midfield pairing, you have two really good ball-playing midfielders who are comfortable on the ball. They can play long raking passes out wide to Perisic or to Rebic, and or long or to Mandzukic. And I just think that England will have to do really well in order to nullify the midfield pairing of Rakitic and Modric, because if you don't, they will control the tempo of the game. They will run the midfield single-handedly unless England don't do anything about that. However, even though Rakitic and Modric are wonderful midfielders, there's a major weakness in playing just them two in a double pivot, 4-2-3-1, just them two sitting at the base of midfield. And a weakness in that sort of tactic of playing them in a double pivot position is that if you notice that if you go back to the Russia-Croatia game, the first goal, which was scored by Denis Cheryshev for Russia, he Cheryshev made a run in between Rakitic and Modric easily, and then that's sort of what set up that goal for Cheryshev. And I think that and playing midfield two of Rakitic and Modric will be very, very vulnerable to late runs by players in particular like Dele Alli, who is known for even if you see him Tottenham sort of making late runs into the box. And I think that I think the Croatian manager must sort of play a third midfielder in either Brozovic or Bedelj, because he needs to play a sitting defensive midfielder in behind those two midfielders so that he can offer extra protection in the midfield and sort of nullify the late attacking runs of Ali, into the box. So that could be another potential weakness in the Croatian setup. But overall, I think that this will be a tough match, a tricky match, and I think so. My overall prediction of this match, I think we'll see England win this game, purely because Croatia in the past two knockout matches in the quarterfinal and knockout stages and in the final round 16, they played two grueling 120-minute matches, and I think that toll will have a major impact on the physical condition of the team, and I think they won't be as fresh and as energetic as the English team. And also I think the defense is quite suspect, because I just think that the lack of pace in the defense will be easily exposed by players like Sterling and Lingard, and I just think that they can be given a real tough test by the England attackers. And I think just purely based on that, I think it will be England win. However, Croatia do have their own strengths. In particular, they have Rakitic and Modric, two of the best midfielders in the World Cup and maybe in Europe, and they have a weakness in the centre half position for England with Walker, and that could be exposed to Mandzukic. And yeah, I just think that Croatia also, I think, have to nullify the right hand side of England's attack in Trippier, because out of the two fullbacks, I think he's the most dangerous one, because he has Ashley Young, who is a right footed player playing a left wing back position. I think that since when he pushes up in the field, he has to always cut back into his right foot, and I think that's easily able to be defended against. And I think that the major threat is through Trippier, and his accurate crossing and his overlapping ability, I think, should be nullified. And yeah, that's my tactical preview of the England and Croatia match, and I hope it's coming home. Football's coming home. It's coming home. It's coming. Football's coming home. Yeah, see ya.